Epic stipulation for Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso at SummerSlam 2023. The Judgment Day breaks up. Why did Becky Lynch lose on WWE Raw? DIY reunites. Brock Lesnar's next appearance. Major update on Bray Wyatt's WWE status. Vince McMahon happy two top WWE stars shook hands after real-life fight. Let's jump right into it. WWE factions that could break up soon and two that are already done. With the introduction of Judgment Day and the Bloodline, WWE started to build several new factions over the last few years. While those two groups were formed with Mr. McMahon still in charge, Damage Control emerged under Triple A's tenure. Imperium was also brought back to full strength under the game's watch. The Bloodline has carried the mantle of the top group on SmackDown, while Judgment Day has done so on Raw. Factions in wrestling usually have a shelf life, like the Shield, Evolution, and the NWO, which WWE factions have already disbanded and which are on the road to dissolution. Here are three that could break up soon and two factions that are already done. Number 3 could break up. Gunther has been unhappy lately with Imperium's performance. Imperium was a top faction in NXT with Giovanni Vinci and Lebu Kaiser winning tag team gold. Gunther is a dominant NXT UK champion, which is translated to the main roster. Despite being the longest reigning intercontinental champion of the modern era, the ring general has often been disappointed with the performances of Vinci and Kaiser. That was never more evident as the tag team lost to the duo of Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle. Both Gunther and Kaiser showed their disapproval of Vinci after the match. Raw, however, still needs the faction to stay together. That becomes even more important if another faction on this list does indeed explode. Number 2 already done. The Maximum Male Models will no longer grace the WWE runway. Once the Maximum Male Models debuted, it was evident that the group's shelf life in WWE was limited at best. Every group cannot be the New Day. Introduced with Max Dupree, L.A. Knight, and later Maxine Dupree, the group was primarily a creation of Mr. McMahon. While the segments did provide some comedic moments, it was hard to take the group seriously when real stakes were on the line. Once Maxine started to court Otis of Alpha Academy, the writing was on the wall. Mansoor and Mace stopped appearing on Raw while Dupree officially joined the Academy. She even had her first match recently, and it's all because of Maximum Male Models disbanding. Number 2 could break up. Damage Control has been at odds for the last several months. Damage Control formed at last year's SummerSlam. Bayley led Io Sky and Dakota Kai to the ring to confront Bianca Belair. Despite winning the WWE Women's Tag Team titles on a few occasions, the relationship has been tenuous at best. Bayley continually made decisions for the group without consulting her teammates. When Sky has done the same, Bayley hasn't liked it. Dakota Kai eventually got injured, leaving Bayley to roll with Sky. It won't be long before one turns on the other. The miscommunication has continued with Bayley pushing Sky off the ladder at Money in the Bank. The two allies are still on the same page, but for how long? Number 1 already done. The Bloodline has exploded on WWE SmackDown. After dominating the WWE airwaves for the last 3 years, the dominance of the Bloodline over other teams is finished. The saga still takes up much TV time, but the group has been at each other's throats over the last 2 months. Roman Reigns is still highly protected by WWE, but the familial bond between all members has made the angle so powerful. The best angles usually involve incredibly emotional moments, and Reigns has manipulated everyone in the group at one point. It was a matter of time before things broke down between the members. Number 1 could break up. The Judgment Day has had trouble getting on the same page. Success can sometimes hit groups in different ways. Things were great for Judgment Day as they battled the OC, Rey Mysterio, and Edge at various points. Rhea Ripley was the glue holding the group together. Her spot was cemented after she beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39. While she's been busy with Dominic Mysterio, things with Finn Balor and Damian Priest have been disintegrating. That was the case on the road to Money in the Bank, as Priest teased cashing in during Balor's match with Seth Rollins. The two sides still warred on Raw, but appeared to make amends. The Prince, however, was left a little confused after Priest said the Judgment Day would have Rollins' title one way or another. Why did Becky Lynch lose on WWE Raw? Potential reason for huge upset. Becky Lynch was involved in singles competition on WWE Raw this week. The man squared off against Zoe Stark in a match that was proposed by Trish Stratus. Unfortunately, Lynch was on the losing side on the latest edition of the Red Brand. Zoe Stark's shocking win over Becky Lynch is her first major career victory on the main roster. The win will boost her singles career while also furthering the animosity between Becky and Trish. The two have been feuding for months now. The feud kicked off after Trish attacked Becky for losing the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez a couple of months ago on WWE Raw. A WWE Hall of Famer also revealed herself as the person who took out Lita backstage. Becky and Trish met in a match at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia on May 27. The ending to the match saw a debuting Zoe Stark take out the man who got busted open due to a stiff strike on the nose by the former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. Stark has since continued to be a thorn in Becky Lynch's side, preventing her from refocusing on the women's title currently held by Rhea Ripley. It remains remains to be seen where the feud between the two women will go next. The man had originally challenged Trish Stratus, but was talked into squaring off against Zoe Stark by the WWE Hall of Famer. Becky and Zoe met in singles action during the second hour of the Red Brand this week. The match was highly competitive and involved great action. Lynch went for a submission, but Stark countered with a kick to the face. She attempted a roll-up by holding the ropes, but was caught by the referee. It took a distraction from Trish Stratus to give Stark an upset win over Lynch. The rivalry is expected to continue on Raw next week. How would you rate the feud so far? Let us know in the comments section here. DIY reunites. Tonight's episode of WWE Raw featured several significant happenings, including a few upsets. The biggest one may have been The Miz's victory over Tommaso Ciampa. The two faced off in a no disqualification match on Raw to seemingly end their feud, but it ended in interference. Right as Ciampa was about to win, Bronson Reed pulled him out of the ring and assaulted the Blackheart. This led to The Miz winning for the first time in 2023. Now that the two-time WWE champion has reunited with Reed, Tommaso Ciampa needs some help if he is to get the last laugh over his former tag team partner. Enter another one of his former partners, and much more iconic one. Johnny Gargano has yet to return to Raw and could fill that spot, reuniting DIY in the process. The former NXT champion hasn't wrestled in nearly 2 months due to a shoulder injury, but is now reportedly cleared to return. Gargano might be back as soon as next week's episode, where he saves Ciampa from a 2-on-1 attack from The Miz and Bronson Reed. DIY last team in a tag team setting in January 2020, defeating Mustache Mountain at Worlds Collide. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa have been on the same team since then, including at NXT War Games 2021, but not as a duo. It would be quite an emotional reunion if it happens, considering their storied history on the developmental brand. After defeating The Miz and Reed, Gargano and Ciampa could go on to face Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. DIY had been rumored to reunite for a while, with Johnny Wrestling even teasing it in a backstage segment on WWE Raw. It remains to be seen how this potential reunion factors into the Way's dynamic, with Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, and Dexter Lumis all in the fold too. Are you excited to see a potential DIY reunion? Leave your thoughts in the comments section here. Brock Lesnar's next appearance. The WWE Universe did not witness former multi-time world champion Brock Lesnar on tonight's Raw. However, last week's return of the Beast Incarnate saw him retreat from the ring after Rhodes hit him with a Cody Cutter. On the latest episode of the Red Brand, the American Nightmare delivered a special message to Lesnar ahead of the road to SummerSlam 2023. The 38-year-old mentioned that Lesnar will be present at next week's Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes also hoped to end one chapter upon his WWE return that Lesnar started for no apparent reason. The two men started a feud after WrestleMania 39 when Rhodes and Lesnar were scheduled to take on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa on Raw, but the match never took place as the Beast turned his back on Cody Rhodes, leading to the first clash at Backlash and the second at Night of Champions this year. As of now, Rhodes and the former WWE champion have 1-1 score, and if Brock Lesnar accepts the rubber match challenge, it would be a tiebreaker bout at the biggest party of the summer. Only time will tell if the former UFC champion accepts Cody's challenge for him to be next in line and finish his story. Do you want to see Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam this year? Sound off in the comments section below. Major update on Bray Wyatt's WWE status. Bray Wyatt has been sidelined for several months now, and his status with WWE has been a topic of discussion amongst wrestling fans. According to a new report, Eater of Worlds may be off TV for even longer. Prior to his injury, Wyatt was involved in a feud with Bobby Lashley. The two stars were supposed to fight at WrestleMania 39, but the bout was scrapped, and neither of them competed on the show. Recent rumors suggested that the former Universal Champion will soon return to the company and compete at SummerSlam next month, but that might not happen. As per Fightful Select, a WWE higher-up informed them that Bray Wyatt is still sidelined and has not been cleared to compete yet. The site was also told that the multi-time champion is still awaiting clearance and is hoping to return when it's possible for him to do so. Fightful also disclosed that they haven't heard any important creative plans for Bray due to the unpredictable nature of getting him cleared. Wyatt was last seen on the February 24 episode of SmackDown, where he hosted an episode of Firefly Funhouse. The Eater of Worlds made a shocking return to WWE at Extreme Rules last year after Matt Riddle defeated Seth Rollins in a fight pit match. He went on to introduce Uncle Howdy to the world, although it was never revealed who the person behind the mask was. At Royal Rumble, Bray Wyatt faced L.A. Knight in his return match, which he won. The mask-wearing character was also involved in the bout. However, since Bray was taken off TV, Uncle Howdy has also been absent. Since the two characters are meant to work together, it would be creatively difficult for him to be on screen without Wyatt in the picture. Would you like to see Bray back in WWE? Sound off in the comments below. Vince McMahon happy two top WWE stars shook hands after real-life fight. Vince McMahon was glad that Goldberg and Chris Jericho squashed their beef and shook hands after their backstage fight. Back in 2003, Goldberg made his WWE debut immediately after WrestleMania XIX. Soon after, he got involved in a backstage fight with fellow former WCW star Chris Jericho. On the latest edition of Something to Wrestle, WWE veteran Bruce Pritchard opened up about the fight and revealed that Vince McMahon wasn't happy over what happened between the two stars. Pritchard added that Vince McMahon was glad that Goldberg and Jericho squashed their beef on their own and he didn't need to intervene. Vince wasn't happy about it. He was glad that they went back and they shook hands and they, pretty much squashed it on their own. Goldberg was an unstoppable force in WCW back in the late 90s. Vince pushed the icon heavily when he made his way to WWE in 2003. Mere months later, Goldberg won the World Heavyweight Championship from Triple H in the main event of Unforgiven 2003. He successfully defended the belt against the Game at Survivor Series 2003 and eventually lost it to him in a triple threat match at Armageddon. Considering the fact that Triple H had put down former WCW talents like Booker T, Kevin Nash, and Scott Steiner that same year, it was a pleasant surprise to many fans that Goldberg went over him. Goldberg went on to wrestle his final match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania XX, after which he left WWE. He returned to the company 12 long years later. Jericho is currently a mainstay in All Elite Wrestling. He was AEW's first ever World Heavyweight Champion and is doing quite well for himself in the company. Do you remember Goldberg and Chris Jericho's infamous backstage fight from 2003? Epic stipulation for Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso at SummerSlam 2023. After an epic bloodline civil war at Money in the Bank on July 1, Roman Reigns is seemingly set to defend his title against Jey Uso at WWE SummerSlam 2023. A new champion could be crowned at the event. Money in the Bank featured Roman Reigns teaming up with Solo Sikoa to battle the Usos in the show's main event. The twins won after Jey became the first man to pin his cousin in over 3 years. The two will expectedly battle at the biggest event of the summer. Considering the importance of the imminent bout and the history between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, the two could once again battle in a Hell in a Cell I Quit match. The first time this stipulation was used in WWE was at Hell in a Cell 2020, where the tribal chief assaulted and injured Jimmy Uso to make Jey utter the words, "I quit." Nothing is confirmed right now, but the stipulation's return after 10-14 days will make perfect sense at SummerSlam 2023. The condition could also force Reigns and Jey to battle one-on-one without the interference of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. The build-up to the possible epic showdown between Reigns and Jey at SummerSlam 2023 started almost 3 years when the latter lost to the tribal chief at Hell in a Cell in October 2020. While main event Jey Uso joined his cousin and turned heel, fans still wanted to see the underdog become champion. Over the last 3 years, several stars like Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn pointed out that Jey deserved to be the real tribal chief. Still, Roman Reigns manipulated his cousin into thinking otherwise. Now that Jimmy has finally made his brother realize his self-worth, Jey Uso could go on to dethrone his cousin to become the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion at the biggest party of the summer.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted.